Welcome to the Mucked Up My Self-Care podcast.
I'm Jill from New York.
And I'm Linda from Tasmania.
We are two moms from opposite sides of the world who are living, demonstrating, and helping moms across the world build their self-care asset bank.
Ready to dive in? Messy, interrupted, imperfect, and most of all mucked up. Let's get going. Hello.
Hello.
Here we are again. I'm back under the blanket because it just got cold. So
it's a brisk morning here.
Both feeling it, aren't we?
Yeah.
So for those that may have been listening along or just joined us, we start every episode with highs and lows because we know that motherhood has many different aspects, good and bad, and we are keeping it real, aren't we, Jill?
Yes. Keeping it real and allowing ourselves to honor, acknowledge both the good and the bad pieces of our weeks or days, and talk it out sometimes. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So do you want to get started? Get us started?
Yeah. Okay, I can get us started. What do we got? Let's see. Oh boy, I think my low. We're gonna start with my low. I don't know. It's overwhelming. Life. That's the low right now. There just seems to be so much happening that I'm trying to juggle and navigate that I think I ended up giving myself a panic attack the last few nights. You know, when you go to lay down and all of a sudden your brain switches on and you're like, no, this is the wrong time for you to start circling through all of the things that need to happen this week or that happened over the last few days. And why is the brain on right now when I'm trying to sleep? A couple of those experiences and just, yeah, but we shall see. We have school holidays and I will take advantage of taking a rest with Declan and just sitting in a holiday off day. We'll see how that helps. Let's see. What is a high? What is a high? I don't know. I just feel like I just high.
It's usually something.
I know. Oh my goodness. Oh. We
can circle back around to you if you want.
Yeah, without taking too much time. Share yours. Maybe I'll be inspired to remember what happened recently.
Okay, so I think the low for me is it's a big sigh. I think the low for me is just still feeling really strapped for time and fulfillment outside housework because it is a constant declutter, organize, rearrange, put things away, find things, and it takes so much mental energy and you're still tired afterwards, but not a good physical exhausted sort of tired. So yeah, that's definitely I think the low for me. And I think a high would be just watching different little personalities come out with the kids. So yesterday my eldest was in a maths relay, so a maths competition, which was sort of statewide for everybody. So he had a lot of fun doing that. And then just watching, little personalities coming out and just being a bit fun and silly and crazy and laughing lots and that sort of thing. So, yeah. Yeah, nothing big, but also big. So, do you have a?
I think my high is that we got to spend some time with my dad while he was just starting to feel a little better. Had some strength back in him, and just getting to spend some time with him and enjoying family time together. So, well, I'll say that was the high. It's just, yeah. So,
Definitely.
oh.
I'm glad you found one in there from everything, and it fits well into what we're talking about today, which is self-care for the perfectionist, where we feel like our highs almost need to be perfect in a way. I think, like we're wanting to share bits of our life that haven't got the sharp, pointy edges sometimes. And of course, we're surrounded by that through Instagram and Pinterest and websites and media, and seeing other mums at school drop off or something like that. You only catch this glimpse of a very small part of their day. But sometimes it can be easy to think that people have got all their stuff together.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
When often it's not the case.
Very true. Yeah, I think we wait for the perfect thing to share. I think we wait for the perfect moment to do something in. When all of our stars are aligned, then it's like, okay, now I can do it. Yeah. So if it's not well, let's take the highs and lows. It's some place that we become vulnerable in. And I feel like perfectionism and vulnerability don't have a place together. It's like they're opposites, right? And highs and lows, that is a very vulnerable spot. So even just racking my brain today, trying to figure out what is a high that I want to share, something that even constitutes as a high, we're already thinking, oh, no, that's not good enough to be something that was exciting or that brought me joy for that moment. But really like stripping down, even though it was just a moment that I might have had in a big time frame, it'd still be considered for that. But do I look for the perfectionism? Like, do I look for the perfect thing to share because I have an expectation for what should be shared?
Yeah. And well, that's vulnerability right there, isn't it? As well, though, like we in some ways that it's a vulnerability just to share those highs and lows in a way that's public and even just between the two of us. And I think sometimes you can lose perspective when you're swamped with all the stuff as well. You lose track of what's important at the same time. Yeah. And I think for me, perfectionism also comes with not wanting to make a mistake. That's a big part of, I think, what it involves for me is you wanting to get it perfect so that you don't make a mistake, so that you don't feel vulnerable, so that you don't feel too much at all, really. And
is it feel a fear of failure that is to them?
I think so. Yeah. And that means sometimes we set unrealistic high standards as well, like unrealistically high standards for ourselves, and think that we can stay on top of, I don't know, housework, for example, or even just life admin or parenting or sleep or sickness or all sorts of things like that. So it can be damaging in that way when we've also at the same time lost perspective on things to turn around and set those high standards for ourselves.
Yeah.
So where does self-care fit into all of this, do you think?
Well, for me, on the perfectionism side of self-care is the perfect timing, the perfect thing to do for what I feel like I'm needing, and just fishing through to figure out, will this fit here? And just navigating it all and piecing it together is what tends to stop me from following through with self-care. And I love that
Yep.
we have these conversations, because this podcast is not about us having or figuring out the perfect self-care. It's working through all of the things that prevent us from doing self-care, the ways that we can do self-care better, and naming that we sometimes wait until all of the things line up so we can have the perfect self-care or the perfect moment for self-care. Yeah. So that's how I feel about how self-care fits in here. Gosh, I don't know about
Yep.
you, but I definitely try and line it up sometimes.
Yeah. And then when it falls through, we've spoken before about also getting frustrated about that
Oh yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why I think we stick really hard with the going back to the simple things that we do. And I was recording a roving reporter segment because I was batching some of them the other day, and one of my topics was about fitting in self-care with being an entrepreneur and a mom. And I wanted to give like 2 examples of things that I stepped back to that worked out for me in the early days. And I'm like going back to my list, and I'm realizing, my top 5 are pretty much all around the same kind of things. And what do they come down to? And it was nature and movement. And they're the same for you, Linda. We have very much similarities in that a lot of the things that we enjoy for self-care really come down to being in nature and moving our bodies. And I think those are the 2 things that, one, nature is not perfect, but looks perfect to us sometimes. And we don't need to be perfect to be in and around. And I think we have a big fear about movement and looking perfect in our movement. But it's one of the most vulnerable and freeing things that we can do, to just be ourselves in movement. It just had me really thinking about how easy it is to do that when we shift our expectations for what self-care is, and that self-care doesn't have to be something perfect to make us feel all this energy is back in our lives. But so simple that we're like, it's too simple, it can't be that easy, kind of thing.
And I also think about the times when I have maybe, the fear of not getting enough or fear of failure or trying to make it perfect has stopped me from getting out into nature or moving my body as well. And at those times, it never goes well. It's like the opposite happens, and like it becomes very imperfect, where it's definitely not a healthy way for me to do self-care or move forward or be talking in this podcast or mothering or all sorts of things. So yeah, it's those two things need to keep rising to the top, and we need to keep surrounding ourselves with things, even though it's not, because it usually comes down to perfect timing, right? For me, perfect timing, perfect surroundings. Ideally, I would love to be able to go on a bushwalk for an hour by myself one day, but it's not going to happen right now. So I can't keep waiting and stalling and pausing that because it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
I feel you. Because right now, the movement side of things for me, I've been doing a kickboxing class, and I get distracted because I usually have Declan with me because it falls right after his karate class. So it's easy for me to just stay, and then he stays with me, but I have an eye on him the whole time, and he's ridiculous when he's left alone to his own devices. I mean, he makes new friends like it's his job. It's so sweet, but also he just runs around like crazy. So I never truly feel that I am fully committed to the class unless he is not with me. So again, right there, setting myself up for the perfect situation usually bites me in the butt too, because like Monday nights are the only time that I would go later typically than him, and he wouldn't come with me. He usually stay home with my husband, and at this point, that doesn't always happen, and usually it's a surprise when it doesn't happen. So, when you do have a setup of the perfect self-care that you've put in your mind, like, yes, I have this time block. We are going to go do this thing. And something happens to throw it off just the littlest bit. Do you typically go through with what you had planned with some adjustments, or do you scratch the whole thing because it's not the perfect situation you thought you were going to have again?
I think it depends. I know that's a dodgy roundabout answer, but it really does depend on how much energy I have at times. So it does require, I think, more headspace and energy to go through with the plan if it's not going to be how we wanted it to be. It does, require a lot more headspace in that sense. But then the trade-off is if I scrap it all together, it lingers for longer. And you're just more frustrated.
Yeah.
As well. So, yeah. There's a big trade-off there.
There's a build-up there of what you're putting off.
Yeah.
But I understand completely when it comes to that, like you're putting now more effort into figuring out how to make it work with the shift the way that you would want it to work. And sometimes it's when we're thinking about perfectionism, like for me, because I do have a tendency for it, nothing will be as good as what the original plan was. So I don't even want to shift it to something completely different. That once my plan was set there, like, well, I'll take kickboxing, for instance. Last week, I was exhausted at one of the days, and I got Declan to karate, and he expected me to go to kickboxing, but I didn't dress for it because I knew I didn't have the energy to do it. I already made that decision myself, but I didn't make up for it at home. Like I could have probably done something like taking a walk with Declan after karate, or even just done a workout at home to do my movement, just to stick with what self-care I should have had, like I had blocked out already.
Mhm.
But, as I think about it now, rest really was the self-care. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
I just didn't think about it
That's
then
what
that
it
that was the self-care because I
mm,
almost felt like I was failing at that point. I failed on myself to stay committed to doing some kind of self-care because it wasn't the one that I had wanted or planned on.
yeah, interesting. Mm, mm. But, yeah, it's only in hindsight
Mhm.
because in that moment you were feeling probably a little bit guilty, perhaps, by the sounds of
Yeah.
it, that it
Mhm.
wasn't the movement or the original plan
Yeah.
when in many ways you were just listening to what your body needed and
Mhm.
going with that instead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, mm.
But, I
It's
mean, I will
tough.
say
It's tough.
thank goodness
Mm,
for hindsight though, because that's how we acknowledge and we understand
mm,
the more that we can look back at what we've done. So when we find those moments where we expected perfection and we didn't get it, what
mm,
what was throwing us off and what did we do instead, even though it didn't feel like self-care? Did we do something instead? Could that have
mm,
actually helped us in the moment? Like for me, example being rest, a lot of times when I don't do the self-care I expected I wanted to do, it does come down to just resting some way. And I don't
mm,
it's hard for me to plan rest in those ways as self-care, and usually it just
mm,
becomes the default self-care when the original plan doesn't go to plan, and I just haven't shifted how I look at that.
mm,
And it's a good practice to look back to
mm,
see, and giving us that permission, like, "No, I notice this pattern. This will just be the self-care, and we're gonna embrace this, even though it feels like we're failing in this moment as someone who wants perfect self-care."
mm. They're continual works in progress, like
Mhm.
so many in the world.
Jeez.
Yep.
Oh,
Mm. Well, I appreciate having your support in recognizing so much of what we do, and
mhm.
the self-care is is huge for both of us right now
Yeah.
in both perfect and imperfect ways.
Yeah. Well, I keep going back to our simple list because
Mm,
that's just the season I feel like I am in when it comes to
mhm.
making sure I fit in self-care if I can,
Yeah.
and kicking this perfectionist stuff in the booty. So if you are needing to reset as you're listening with us and you're like, yeah, I think I need to reset my self-care, just shoot us an email. We have our top 10 list of things to go simple for self-care all over again.
Mm,
We're happy to share that because that's what I'm always reverting back to myself. I don't know about you, Linda.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a good reference. Good
yeah.
reference. Mm. So, Jill, and until next week.
Yeah, we hope you can unstuck your Mac.
Bye.
Bye.
Bam, bam, can we do it again?